Forests provide a diversity of ecosystem services, including conversion of carbon dioxide into oxygen and biomass. A full-grown tree produces about 100 kilogram of net oxygen per year. Forests also act as carbon sink, therefore they are necessary to mitigate climate change. According to the special report on global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius of the IPCC, to avoid temperature rises by more than 1.5 degrees above the pre-industrial levels, there will be need to be an increase in global forest area equal to the land area of Canada, which is around 10 million square kilometers by 2050. Aiding in regulating climate, for example, research from 2017 demonstrates that forest helps in inducing rainfall. If the forest is cut or cleared, it can lead to serious drought, and in the tropics to occupational heat straits of outdoors worker. Forest provides purified water, helps in mitigating natural hazards such as flood and cyclones, typhoons, acting as a windscreen. Forests serve as a genetic reserve of plant resources and animal resources for future use. Forests also serve as a source for lumber as and recreational areas. Forests serve as a source of woodlands and trees for millions of people dependent almost entirely on forest for subsistence for their essential fuel, wood, food and fodder needs. Many researchers support that forests do not only provide benefit but in certain cases also help humans. Forests can impose an economic burden, diminish the enjoyment of natural areas, reduce fruit producing capacity of grazing land, cultivated land, reduces biodiversity, reduce available water for humans and wildlife, harbor dangerous or destructive wildlife, and act as preservers of human and livestock diseases. So if we lose forest, we are at the mercy of nature in losing a part of our life as well as livelihood. It is important to highlight upon also forest dependent people. These are people who are a wide variety of livelihoods that are dependent on access to forest for collection of major and minor forest products harvested from forest or forest ecosystem, including those of indigenous people dependent on forest. In India, particularly, 22% of the population belongs to forest-dependent communities which live in close association to forest and practice agroforestry as a principal part of their livelihood. Though forest dependence by more common definition is statistically associated with poverty and rural livelihoods, elements of forest dependence exist in communities with wide range of characters. Generally, richer households derive more cash value from forest resources, while among poorer communities, forest resources are more important for home consumption and increase community resilience. It is also important to mention that forests are fundamental to the culture and livelihood of indigenous people or aboriginal communities that live and depend on forest, many of whom have been removed from and denied access to the lands of their ancestors on which they lived as a part of the global colonialism. Indigenous land contain 36% of more intact forest worldwide, host more biodiversity and experience less deforestation. Indigenous activities have argued that devastation and degradation of forest and indigenous peoples' marginalization and land disposition are interconnected. Other important concerns among indigenous people include lack of indigenous involvement in forest management and loss of knowledge related to forest ecosystem. In the US state of Wisconsin, forests managed by indigenous people have been found to be more rich in plant diversity, fewer invasive species, high tree generation rates, and higher volume of trees. The management of forest is very important and regarded as forestry. Forest management has changed considerably and has moved towards something that we regard as sustainable forest management now. Foresters who practice sustainable forest management focus on integration of ecological, social, and economic values, often in consultation with local economies and stakeholders. According to Food and Agricultural Organization, an estimated 420 million hectares of forest have been lost worldwide through deforestation since 1990, but rate of forest loss has declined substantially. In the most recent 5-year period of 2015 to 2020, the annual rate of deforestation was estimated at 10 million hectares, down from 12 million hectares annually in 2010 to 2015. It is therefore important for us to understand that forest conservation is an important source and forest regeneration is an important step towards the conservation of our nature. Unless we practice regeneration of the forest by establishment of forest nurseries in which multiple species of forest species needs to be grown and allowed to mature and then transplanted into the forest to regenerate the ecosystem. The heat wave that we are currently going through in India and other parts of the world is a reminder that how important forests are in reducing and controlling precipitation and thereby controlling the temperature indirectly. Hence, it is important to protect forest. It is important that we all work together in a common platform to help in building our forest regeneration process and increase the forest area of every country in this world, irrespective of northern or southern hemisphere, irrespective of developed, developing or underdeveloped nations. Shoykot Kumar Bas.
আমরা 3 দিনের জন্য হাওড়া পুরী বন্দে ভারত এক্সপ্রেসে এসেছি গ্যালাক্সি নেচার ক্যাম্পে। এটা হচ্ছে ধুবলিগড়ি সি বিচ। তো গ্যালাক্সি নেচার ক্যাম্প থেকে বেরিয়ে ঠিক পেছনের দরজা দিয়ে আমরা এখন এরকম একদম নির্জন একটা ঝাউবনের রাস্তা ধরে পৌঁছে যাব সমুদ্র সৈকতে। ভীষণ সুন্দর, ভীষণ সুন্দর। সবথেকে যেটা বড় কথা, সেটা হচ্ছে নির্জনতা। এখনো পর্যন্ত মানে ওই যে দীঘা, পুরী বা তাজপুর, মন্দারমণির যে কোলাহল, ভিড়, সেটা কিন্তু এখনও একদম এখানে নেই। মানে এখনও এখানে নিজের মতো করে সমুদ্রকে উপভোগ করা যায়, ঝাউবনকে উপভোগ করা যায়। মানে আমরা আমাদের মতো করে এখানে আমরা থাকতে পারছি, প্রকৃতিকে খুব কাছে থেকে আমরা উপভোগ করতে পারছি। এটাই সব থেকে আনন্দের। তাই তোমরাও একবার এসে ঘুরে যাও না, ভীষণ ভীষণ ভালো লাগবে ধুবলিগড়ি সি বিচে। আর বিশেষ করে এই এত সুন্দর ঝাউবনের সারি। টাটা।
Shoykot Kumar Basu, Kalinga Chronicle TV, Kolkata Bureau.